Welcome back to Driven for Health. I'm Coach Brian Piranha. You like the fish. If you're a man in your 40s juggling work, family, kids, your own health, the responsibilities of ownership, all the things, today's conversation is for you. I'm joined today by Curt Hampton out of Dallas, a men's relationship and emotional wellness coach who helps guys build real connection, communicate with conviction, and show up better at home and at work for themselves and the people closest to them. We met on Instagram. We had a couple of DMs. We actually got on a phone call and realized we were seeing the same thing just from two different angles. And today, men carry a lot. They don't want to admit it, but there's a lot on their shoulders that they are bearing. And when it comes to health, if you're not in peak shape there, then your relationships are going to feel it, right? Think of your spouse. If you're overweight and out of shape, it might be wearing on the relationships around you, and vice versa. If your relationships aren't in good standings with your partner, your family, your spouse, your work relationships, then your health is going to be in the gutter, for lack of better terms. You will be stressed. In this episode, we break down the behaviors that keep good men stuck. We talk about the busy mind that won't shut off at 2 a.m., the things that wake you up in the middle of the night and keep you up, those things. So many of us are running lone wolf, meaning it just feels like you are all alone. How to rebuild trust with other men. Yes, male relationships is very important in adulthood. And a simple way to turn surface talk into real connection and communication with others. We will leave you with practical advice, tips, tricks, and reps for you to start working at it today. Like where to find your people. Yeah, you have people out there and you want to find them because your relationships are your net worth in a sense, not more than just monetarily. How to open up conversation. How to use your values to set better boundaries at work, around food, around your time, around your relationships. Stick around to the end for a quick action checklist. Let's get into it with Curt Hampton. Who are you?
Yeah, Curt Hampton, out of Dallas, Texas. I am Hampton Counseling. I work with men with relationship and emotional wellness issues. I like to call it relational intimacy. I think it's a buzz phrase out there in my industry, but yeah, I love building our men up to feel more competent to walk into those relationships better and just perform well, even in that arena.
Oh, that's awesome. See it. Men are suffering on some level. I'm in my 40s. I feel disconnection with other men in my space as well. If I look around to any other guy that's in my age range, we're all dealing with the responsibilities that have stacked up in our lives, from our work responsibilities, our family responsibilities. And that is a big challenge to overcome, especially taking care of yourself, whether it's on the more relationship side and emotional side with what Curt manages really, really well, or on a health perspective in a sense. Either way, they intersect in a way that makes a man less than if they're not managing these pieces in their lives. A good day could easily go off the hinges, off the rails, so to speak, if an emotionally challenged or charged situation comes up. Maybe they say something they shouldn't have, or they eat something they shouldn't have. Then all of a sudden the day went from sunshine and rainbows to a dark, stormy cloud overhead. And one of the things that we really talked about even before we just jumped on this recording was we found that behaviors were a big undertow on where we found a lot of men overlapping in some of these challenges in their lives. And Curt, I'd love for you to share some of what you find in your space for men around these behaviors.
You said a word connected a minute ago, and that jumps out at me because that's a big, won't call it a problem, but it's an issue. How not well connected we're around each other for sure, right? We got access to each other and we work with other men and, we go to the gym with
Right.
other men, all of that stuff. But in terms of truly connecting and sharing our experience, I'm seeing a lot of trouble in that area,
Sure.
right? And leads out into other areas of our lives as we're trying to manage our family, manage ourselves, manage our business, all the things. But we're kind of lone rangering it out there, right?
I personally can attest. I've been called a Lone Ranger before. A lone wolf is the terminology. It's, Brian, you're out on your own doing your thing. And I have it's in business is where I got called out on that. And in the relationship I saw what was happening with the business, and my business partner didn't necessarily see that. And I was taking corrective actions to make sure that people were coming to the gym. If we have no new leads and people leave the door, basic math says we're going to run out of money here if we don't have some sort of a lead generation, a find a new client type person, and find that lone wolf. And the one component that might fall into this, and you can back it up if you think so, is trust. Finding other men that you can trust, that what you say can be between that person and you, and not just get spread around town in a sense. Especially if in my world everyone's remote, but in your world, I don't think that's true, is it?
No. Lots of face-to-face time for
Right.
sure. Yeah, I prefer that. Most of the men that I work with prefer that too. Of course, some
Sure.
of them in other states, so it's not really
Right.
possible. But yeah, that face-to-face interaction, we're still recovering toward that, right?
Yep.
Since the pandemic. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think a lot of people are recovering well at this point, 5 years later, but
Right.
it's a recovery process as all the businesses haven't gone back to the office and we've been introduced to new ways to doing life virtually.
Right.
It's still a recovering process, I think.
Right. Right. Well, even we connected through social media.
Yeah.
I saw what you did and I resonated with it. And I said, hey, thanks for following. I see you work with men. So do I. And then we ended up getting on a call. Let's talk and see if there's in some sort of collaboration. And so we had built this trust up of seeing that we're like minded. Then we had a great conversation introducing ourselves to each other. And so there's instant trust. And hey, how about we turn this into something? And here we are, everyone. So because Curt followed me on Instagram, we're going to try and add value to your life. So
There.
excellent. So
Yeah,
what behaviors? Go ahead.
well, that brings another thought to mind. I love the way that we were able to connect, but what allowed that to happen was wherever you are and wherever I am, and just kind of my health and your health right now, it allowed us to want to take that risk
Yes.
and connect with each other, right? And that's another piece that's kind of missing, is that fear of taking risk, especially with connecting with another man, right? Just
Right.
because whole circus of ideas and thoughts that kind of keep us back from
Men are macho. You cry a tear if your mom dies, and that's about it. Right.
that's yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you
So
shouldn't have a tattoo on your shoulder of some animal like a bald eagle or something, right?
yes. In fact, no.
Let me roll that up right here. So, what are some of the behaviors that you see showing up in the men that you work with, so that we can help some other men that are listening to this start to identify? Okay, yeah, I see what's going on here.
Yeah. So I feel like the range of men that I get to work with and sit with day in and day out is from a range of a really high achiever, very successful, all the way across to the guy who feels he's just kind of comfortable in his, he's made a career for himself or has a job, right? And he's just comfortable and doesn't need to, fight for anything more or
Right.
higher than that. And
Complacency,
that, like,
maybe.
it's just this spectrum of engagement, right? And some of the behaviors that I'm seeing on both ends of that spectrum is human engagement and relational engagement, or lack of. right? And so it looks different and it shows up different depending on, the personality, temperament, where the
Definitely.
guy.
Could you share a quick story on each to help our viewer identify a little bit more with where they're at?
Yeah, for sure. So, I'll tell a story of a guy, Nathan, right? Super
May or
success,
may not be his real name.
super successful, built a great ministry, has a healthy, big family, great marriage, and at the same time struggles a whole lot with just having a busy mind, right?
Oh yeah.
Super fit, still has taken very good care of himself, eats well most of the time. So all of that, looking at, fitness and nutrition and all of that stuff, like he's doing it, right?
Right.
And career is good. And at the same time, there's just a whole lot going on in here that's affecting the rest of it, right? And
Right.
affecting all of this. And
Right.
so, um, work with a man like that is pulling attention to, okay, how do you balance using your busy mind as a superpower when you
Right.
need it, and being able to manage it or contain it when you don't need it, right? So that you can fall
Shut
asleep.
it down at midnight or at 2 in the morning.
Totally, totally.
I wake
All
up and all of a sudden my mind's roaming and I'm gonna have a meal too. And yeah, that's not the time you should be using your brain or your mouth.
Yeah. And then, going to not necessarily an extreme, but a different example is, we'll call him Ben. Guy very comfortable in his life. He reports that he's happy and satisfied. And at the same time, the story is full of dissatisfaction, just in terms of connection with his partner, feeling ill equipped to parent well, but also super disconnected, right? Super disconnected from friends, like literally reports that he's got no friends, right?
Jeez.
Interaction with people at the office, but no friends, right? So within both of those examples, even though very different issues, I want to kind of go into their value system, right?
Yes.
Which I tell my guys all the time, all of us know we have values. All of us know that there are things that are important to us, but there's
Right.
really no institution in life that has taught us how to identify and articulate our
Right.
core values to ourselves
Right.
first, right? And then also to the people around us. And I feel like that's paramount because,
100%.
yeah, our values inform everything, what we like, what we don't like, who we want to be close to, who we are,
Right.
by all of that. And so if I don't understand that about myself, then there's a whole lot of life navigation that I don't understand why or how I'm
Yeah.
doing it. Right.
Yeah. A simple analogy is we're floating out in the ocean with a sailboat, and either the sail's not even up, just letting the tide take us, or the sail is up, but letting the wind just blow us wherever it will. And I've used that analogy a lot with some of my guys as well. Two things that you said that resonated with me were managing the busy mind.
Mhm.
Oftentimes men don't express these things. Even me, guilty as charged, to say my wife, Amber, high school, married my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 19 years. I have 4 kids. So life is crazy busy. There's always things. Communication is so paramount. And I constantly get it wrong, or we don't connect. But oftentimes I don't say a lot, but my mind is racing. I've got this checklist of all these things, and my schedule is running in my head, and I have to do this and that and the other. And when am I going to do the things that I need for myself? And how do I prioritize what's important, what's not? And the list goes on, and it goes real fast too, just like that. And so
Yep.
that's so important to, I think both of us probably do a really good job of creating space for the person on the other end of our conversations to slow down. Let's think through, prioritize. When do certain things to need to be done to elicit the response that we're looking for as your underlying goals and takeaway from our engagement in the first place? That's so critical. to be able to manage that. And I think we both probably do a really good job with it. The second one is the value system. And the first thing that came to mind is we learn through parenting, whatever our parents did or didn't do, and they learn based on whatever their parents did or didn't do. And then all the external inputs that constantly come to us. Are you parenting right? Are you not? Are you a helicopter parent? Are you not? Are you just letting your kids, smoke and do drugs at 15 or something or whatever, and or not? And what's the responsibility of that? And trying to understand what actual parent is for you, and what's correct and best for you and your kids, and then also how you co-parent. For me, I'm in a relationship, I have to co-parent with my spouse and understand what the values are in our household from a hierarchy, to then be able to put into that's a ladder of responsibility or parenting style there. So there's that. And then the last one that I would say that stuck out with our conversation, and trust in men. Parents divorced when I was young, when I was 13 or so, 12. My dad, I saw him every other week, and he participated. But as the older I got and more into college, less our engagements became, especially afterwards when I'm a working, valued member of society. His inputs were far and few in between. So that parenting, that father figure in my life hasn't been there. And finding a male figure, period, has been a little bit of a challenge at certain times of my life. In my late 20s, when I was starting a business, or even starting my family, and my first son was born when I was 26. That was a critical time that I could have used my father and the just the conversations that I missed in that place. So going to trusting men in general, or even having close connection with them, because I'm an entrepreneur, I've run my own business, I have 4 kids, I have this much time to do any type of socializing. But I found 4 guys that Leo and Dan were from high school running. We ran together, and we still communicate. Even I sent them a silly GIF or a video or something to just keep that line going there. But Chris and I, in this gym space here that we work out for, it was May 8th, 2023 was our broversary. His daughter and my daughter went to the father-daughter dance, and we saw each other the year prior, but then we saw each other again. We're like, hey, let's have coffee. And then coffee turned into, hey, do you want to come work out in my barn? Because he wasn't taking care of himself. And all of a sudden, he's been coming basically 3 or 4 times a week. But his office is half a mile down from my house. So it's crazy convenient for him and I both. And he has 4 kids, and Dan has 4 kids, and Leo has, between his marriage and all, there's 4 or 5 kids there. And then Andy enters in, and he's more of a recent relationship with my middle school kids. And with Maxwell, particularly, he's my 3rd son. But Andy and I run, and Andy owns his own organization, a nonprofit that's called Project Outrun, and it helps kids outrun cancer and get some sweet. The motto is, "I'm not sick, but my shoes are." So he gets these real, like, Nike ID type to help empower these kids. But the point being is, I found these 4 guys through fitness, through taking care of, finding the attraction there of self-improvement was of that nature. And that's where I found connection with people. Now, for you and your men, how do you get them to connect and start to break some of these patterns of behaviors that have caught them staying stuck?
So that is the question of the hour.
How to get men to connect?
No, honestly, it starts with a conversation about, okay, let's look at your life, and let's look at what and where you interact with on a routine basis, right? Like, where do you go? Do you go to the grocery store? Do you go to the gym? Do you work? Blah, blah, blah. Like, where do you even go where there are people available for you to connect with? As basic as that sounds, like, that's where the conversation starts, just to start like jogging the thoughts of, who in the world do I even have access to, right? And then, of course, the advancement of that conversation is, all right, let's practice how to engage someone. Like, is it
because
to
that's foreign when it comes to men, right?
my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I think we're getting better, but we're not there yet. But yeah, like literally, I like to role play with men how to start a conversation, how to continue that
Yeah.
conversation. Because like we can, give each other the nod, but then like how do we go beyond that?
Or how's the weather today? Or those top level surface conversations, how do we get a couple layers deeper?
Exactly. Yeah, and going back to what you said earlier in terms of that trust piece, do I trust this person enough to want to connect with them? And I would also add this element. Do I trust the benefit of connection
Yeah.
to even put in the work to do this? Like, because I feel like I'm fine. I mean, maybe I could, have a bro to drink with or have a bro to work out with or go
Right.
run with or whatever. But for the most part, I'm fine. And it's kind of coming back to that idea of values, right? To get this person to realize, okay, am I really satisfied with the level of connection that I have, with the level of community that I have?
Right.
And coming back to what your core values are, I think can inform that for you and help you think through that a little better.
Yeah. 100% agree with you on all of that. Finding people to connect with, even in when I'm, say, fitness or health, finding a gym could be, if you want to lose weight, the easiest way to connect with someone be at the gym. Whether you're a Arnold Schwarzenegger wannabe or you hate going in there, we can find other avenues as well. Certain meetup groups. Maybe you need to go on a hike, go get into a hiking group and or a running group. And it doesn't have to be the fastest person, but we have to start opening up those conversations with the guys to be open to going there and start breaking some of those patterns of behaviors of staying stuck, because that's a choice. In my life, in line of work, your bodies are reflection of what's happening on the inside. And if you're overweight and you're not taking care of yourself and you're not eating vegetables, not drinking water, not moving your body, then we
Yep.
have to break those patterns. And a pattern interruption of going to a hiking group or going to the gym and then start connecting and growing a relationship is really important. One of my first entrepreneurial journeys was opening a gym. We ended up growing that gym to about 300 people. The community aspect was why people came. They came as their third home. That was literally what was part of our mission statement, in a sense of, as we were building this, we want this to be their third home where they connect with other members and they grow and they push each other and they're encouraged through activity and movement. And that was 300 members a month of membership. So it was and the space that we worked out of was not very big. So it was come in and we just hit it and had a great time. We all stinky and sweaty, but the bonding, especially afterwards and spending time. And I think that might be something too, is the behavior around how you spend your time, because people would come to a time frame in the gym, they'd work out together and they'd push through hard workouts, not crazy hard, but they were going to do this thing this many times and this thing. And next thing you know, an hour later, like, oh my gosh. But then you stayed after and you had actual real conversations, and those were the opportunities where you're able to, what Curt's saying is, break through that top layer conversation to actually develop relationships with someone that you could then grow in time to be connected and find that trust in that relationship and be able to be more open and honest. And that's where I think true connection is, through authenticity, is through becoming a better human in general, is having these social aspects. And we're connecting via technology, but we could hang out and we could talk shop about what we do if I was down the road from you. Like, I can see that happening. And that's even in a short amount of time, because, say, the magnetic energy, the connection of what we do for a living is what has gotten this to where it's at right now. So far, so good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Thought comes to mind as you say all that, and being in the gym, doing challenging things that happen in a gym, especially what it sounds like the atmosphere of you
Yeah.
guys was, the gym that you were talking about. Like you're doing these things, and a lot of it needs to be done together, right?
Yeah.
That's already a pretty vulnerable situation
Yes.
because I am allowing this other person to see my strength or lack of strength, right?
Right.
Expecting them to support me or encourage me,
Right.
receive their support and encourage, or making a choice to receive, right?
Right.
And so I feel like that is a fantastic opportunity to build on, right? Because like we've already done something that's decently vulnerable in allowing this other person, this other human being to see my strength or to see me struggle, basically, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Struggle to open up. And that's what I see with my relationships. Just interject real quick is because we bond through exercise, we work out together, we spend time in close quarters in this barn here and we work through things and it allows us conversation to be vulnerable to talk about some of the challenges that are coming up in our life because everyone has challenges. This is the human existence. And if you don't have challenges, you're lying to yourself. So continue.
yeah, then you come see me and you talk about different things.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I don't know that I've thought about it in terms of how it's just coming to me now, but just specifically in the arena of if a gym atmosphere or, CrossFit or whatever it is, if I'm already in a situation like that, like I'm already primed to connect even deeper
Yeah.
with those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. I love
Dan
that.
and Leo are high school running buddies. Freshman year, we ran track together. And we still talk to this day. What? I don't want to age myself, but I already told you how old I am. I got a notification. I got invited to the 25th anniversary of graduating class. So it's like, oh, geez,
Is
20,
that
27 years ago or something, we ran together and we still have a bond. We actually, in November, we spent time at a hockey game. We had some tacos and just acted like we were still in high school
yeah, yeah,
when we hung
right.
out together.
So tell me this.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued by why why that connection is a value for you, or when you realized that that was a value for you. That bond, that connection, those relationships. When did you realize, okay, this is something that's important to me, and
Right.
realizing the level of importance now, so I am going to invest in this. Do you
Right.
remember kind of when that clicked for you, or was it just kind of a progression?
Definitely a progression over time, right? Because you only get to that level through sheer value of reps and sets, and those are conversations. Those are chunks of time that you spend with someone, and being able to be open and vulnerable. Well, the Dan and Leo conversations continue to stay. They're built around just joking around.
Yeah.
Dan's the king of one-liners. Leo is, say, the oddball. He's the one that comes up with these really unique, interesting ideas and stuff. I threw one out. I was like, hey, guys, next time our kids, I found this video online and shared with them, but next time our kids have gone through another school year, so next June, let's set up a rock band setup and play Schools Out for Summer when they pull up to the house and just
That's
act
cool.
like just silly high schoolers, right? So there
Yeah.
was that. I see Dan pretty regularly. He's super busy with 4 kids and his job and all that, and so he comes about once a week. Then we have a Chris. Leo's busy. Got his own thing, so we have to connect. We actually have to make intention to
Mhm.
connect. Chris, because of proximity, makes it a lot easier. He's a half mile down the road with his office, so it's, hey, we're going to connect in the middle of the day to work out. With Chris, we kept overlapping. I've overlapped with this guy for 20 years. He's
Huh.
seen my entrepreneurial journey from afar, and now he sees it a lot closer. But
Yeah.
we just had this good connection, and therefore when we did the invite for coffee and we started talking, there's that relatability because we went from layer 1 to layer 2, and then there's more connection. Yeah,
Yeah.
not all relationships are going to do that. You only need what, 1 2 3 good relationships in your life anyways, and if you have those and can lean on them properly, then therefore you can be more whole, whether whole is my world at a healthy body weight, full of energy and clicking on all cylinders in a sense on your end, being more emotionally available or being relationally available to those closest to you, whether it's a partner, spouse, or a friend. I think that those are, so we got to that next layer down. And then Andy, just again, going off those four close male friends, the running, we run together. But then because he does this project for cancer kids and has a movement, and I do what I do, which is a movement to help men empower themselves around taking better care of themselves to be better husbands, fathers, men.
Mhm.
We bond real fast because of those, and we're super busy, so we have really small amounts of time, but we both have stepped toward each other in that relationship to make time to
Yeah,
run, even if it's only just once a week. But I made a lead magnet and I said, "Hey, can you check this out?" And he's like, "Sure, man. Send it over." And so he's going to take a peek at it and give me some feedback on it. And I can trust his feedback because of our relationship.
I love that. I love that. So going back to the two examples that I brought at the beginning of this conversation, like I kind of want to weave that
Yeah, yeah.
into this part of the conversation. So what you just described, you knew that staying connected to those men was important to you as a progression, right?
Right.
So let's say that's not my story, right? Like I didn't have that and I didn't experience that progression. And at the same time, I find myself in a place in life right now where I would like connections like that.
Yeah.
And so there's still something to be done about that, right? And then that comes back to realizing, okay, yeah, this is a value for me. This is important to
Right.
me. And so what can I do about it, right? I don't belong to a gym, or
Right.
I don't, I'm not involved in anything civic, blah blah blah,
Right.
right? Unless you live in a super duper remote place, which some of you might, there are probably some options, right? Now
Probably.
you've got to make the decision to
Get over yourself.
get over yourself is taking a risk, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so you, I'm going to ask you to get comfortable with the idea of taking a risk. And the reward is going to be, hopefully, that you get to connect with somebody or at least getting in some reps.
Right. The first person might not be ready to connect, and that's okay. It's an introduction, and then
Yeah.
you get better. Just say dating in a sense,
Yeah.
right? You're not going to find the love of your life, maybe on the first time, but maybe not. You just have to be open to having conversations and engaging with people, to be vulnerable and to be open, and also not have it backlash on you. You're in a 3-month depression because someone said no, or they're too busy, or they had other things going on in their life. That's
Yeah.
not going to work.
Exactly. Exactly. And how much more fulfilling and helpful, well, how much more fulfilling would my life be and how much more
Right.
support would I have if I'm the guy who struggles with a busy mind, is killing it on in most arenas that I'm operating in? I've got these focus issues that affect my family and that affect my marriage, that affect, how I'm interacting with colleagues. How much better would it be if I've got somebody who is understanding me more and more, who sees it in my life and who is not afraid to speak into what they see, right? Like that's fantastic. That now I talk about it like it's fantastic, but I realize that that's what we're afraid of as well.
Right.
So it's there's two sides of that. But the challenge is to overcome that fear and take that risk that we're
Right.
talking about and just try something.
Yep. As we start to wrap up here, that seems to be the biggest takeaway from this. We're a human being. We have problems. You're gonna have problems till the day you die. I'm under the one thing I always say is that you have many problems. So you have a health problem, then you have one problem. So taking
Yeah.
care of your health is so important. And
Yeah.
taking care of your health puts you in a better frame of mind and reference, and gives you that stress outlet to be able to have better relationships with other people and be more emotionally available to, most importantly, yourself. When you get up and look at yourself in your eyes in the mirror, that's so important to feel confident, have some self-worth there, and then that goes into the rest of your day to be engaged with those and trying new things and putting yourself out there. And to be honest, I would have to say that from a simple Facebook or an Instagram follow to where we're at now, like we were vulnerable. There was risk. Maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't ever respond to me, or and this happened 2 weeks ago, roughly, when we first initiated this to start a conversation. We got on the phone. We're like, hey, this sounds like we could have a conversation and share. And to hear, wrapping up in the last 2 minutes or so, there's lots of value you've added to my life here.
Yes.
So I
Agreed.
appreciate you just following me and showing an interest in what I do and how I help other people. So
No, I totally echo that. And I'm at a point in my life now that I can appreciate that that's how this works.
yeah,
Like you kind of put it out there and you're not attaching your value to the outcome of this invitation, right? But
right,
it's just, hey,
right.
I like this person, or this sounds like it could be cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to connect. And if it doesn't work out, I'm still Curt, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So what wrapping up here? We say you need to try something. You need to stretch yourself, and it can be small, little bit, whether it's going to the gym or saying hello to people. If you just literally said hi to people that looked at you and said, hi, how you doing
Yeah.
today? And that is an opportunity to open yourself up. So Curt, tell us where we can find you.
All right. Well, I'm at curthampton.com. I'm on Instagram at Curt Henry Hampton. And
Reach out and
yeah,
say hello. And I'm Coach Brian. You can find me at the Call to Rise, and I help men transform their bodies to transform their relationships and beyond with those who matter most and are closest to them. So check us out. There'll be some things in the links of the comments and description. I'll have a 3-day fat loss Kickstarter that you can do, and I'll have that down there, and we'll see what Curt can add to get you his way too. So appreciate everyone. Curt, I really appreciate just you following me and opening up
sure.
this conversation. So thank you. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.